everyone, my name is Kara. I have read a lot of books this year and I want to talk to you about all of the ones I've read. I want to be a part of this YouTube community in discussing books because I have just really dove in over the past few years and I want to share my opinions with you. Just a brief overview. I've got 49 books right now. I am currently reading my 50th book, but I know it's not going to be a favorite, so I'm just filming this video right now. Just a disclaimer, I do not have a lot of books to physically show you because I've loaned a lot of them out to my sister or family or friends, and I also read a lot of books from the library as well. So I've narrowed this down to a list of 7 books, and I have 4 honorable mentions as well to share with you guys. I loosely ranked them, but the rankings are not hard and fast. These are like the general order, but I don't think I can say the book that I'm gonna talk about last is my absolute favorite book of the year because the last 2 are just like, oh, amazing. I think this video will give you a good idea of my reading taste, and if you enjoy it, please let me know. Who knows, maybe I'll film more, maybe I won't. I don't know, we'll see where this goes. But I really just wanted to talk about my favorite books because I just need to talk about them. So I want to start off first with the honorable mentions. I have 4 to talk to you about, and these are the books that I actually have with me. So the first one I want to talk about is Nevermoor by Jessica Townsend. This I know has been going around the YouTube book community and is like a really popular book for good reason. It is incredible. I really got into middle grade at the end of this year because I just need a little pick-me-up from the pandemic, and this book absolutely did that. So this is about Morgan Crow. She's this 11-year-old who is cursed to die on her 11th birthday in her town. There is a day where you get chosen to be apprentices of the local occupations in her area, and she's expected to die, so she's like, there's no way I'm gonna get chosen. Lo and behold, she gets picked by Jupiter North. She thinks it's a fluke, all this kind of stuff, but she ends up getting whisked away to this place called Nevermoor, and it's just this magical land filled with talking cats and this beautiful hotel, and it is just all the feels. It's amazing. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Hunger Games, but in not a way where people die, but it just was so enchanting, so adorable. I absolutely loved it. If you need a good pick-me-up, please just read this because it just gave me all the good feels. So the next one I want to talk about is The Vanishing Half by Bennett. Okay, this is a book about 2 sisters, the Vignes sisters? I don't really know how to pronounce it. They basically are 2 twins, grew up in the South. I think it's set in the 1950s, 1960s, and it's kind of a generational sweeping novel about these 2 sisters and their relationship and falling out and their daughters, and it's just amazing. So these sisters, their skin is so it's black, but it's so light that you could pass as a white person. One of the sisters goes and she marries a very dark black man, and she stays in the South, and it's all about her life versus the other sister who marries a white man and kind of assimilates into white society and culture. And it really is a juxtaposition between these two sisters, and I mean it's a very, very, very good novel.
One more thing I wanted to add just about The Vanishing Half. So the first time I listened to Taylor Swift's Folklore album, the song Exile is literally made for one of the characters in that book. I heard it and I was like, did Taylor Swift get an advanced copy of this novel? Because she literally wrote a song about this character. So had to say that. If you agree with me, please comment down below. Bye.
The next book I have in my honorable mentions is Educated by Tara Westover. This is a memoir of Tara Westover. She grew up in the backwoods of Idaho, was homeschooled her whole life, a very isolated community, and she has a big family. The reason I like this so much, so she talks about her life growing up in the 1990s. It's just crazy to me. When I was reading this, I was like, I can't believe that in our modern day there are people living like this in my country. I was blown away. The relationship between her and her family members was just mind-blowing, and there's a reason this book had so much hype when it came out because it's incredible. Would highly recommend it. And last but not least, the other one I wanted to mention, this has been one that's everyone's been talking about, so I feel like I don't even need to explain this, but is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I think everyone knows what this book is about. It's about Addie LaRue, and she made a deal with the devil where every person she meets, they automatically forget her right when she walks out of the room. So she's unable to keep any of her past relationships. She can't own an apartment, all this kind of stuff. And she's immortal, so she can never die. One day, someone remembers her. And it's all about, it's kind of like a little bit of a romance-ish, not really. I really liked it. The writing was stunning. It was very lyrical and beautiful. And I mean, the imagery was just fantastic. I felt like I was just there. And it's set like decades long in Paris and Europe and New York. And it's just, it was just a great book. I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. All right, let's get into the ones that I absolutely loved. Like, these are the top of the top books I read. The first one I want to talk about is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This is an incredible novel. It's been getting a lot of hype recently, and rightfully so. Okay, so this novel is about the Midnight Library, which is a library that has all of the books represent different ways you could have lived your life or different lives you could have had. So it's almost like parallel universes. All of these books are based on if you would have made a different decision, how would your life have played out? It's about Nora Seed, who is able to go to this library, and she is able to live some of these lives that she might have chosen. And it basically questions, what is the perfect life? What does it mean to live the perfect life, and what would that look like? And is there even a perfect life? Really talks about just mental health in general, and which I really appreciate. I love when a book can talk about mental health in just such like a beautiful way. And I mean, it's relatable. Like, if you've ever suffered through any kind of mental health issues, this book brings to light those questions that you have. And I mean, it was great. It was a very short book as well. It was only about 300 pages, and I really loved it. I listened to it on audio, and I really enjoyed the narrator as well. So if you are interested in that, I would definitely pick it up. All right, the next book I have to talk about is The Dutch House by Ann Patchett. This is an incredible novel. I think it's like historical fiction, literary fiction. I listened to this on audio, and it's narrated by Tom Hanks, which is probably why I loved it so much, because I could just listen to anything Tom Hanks says for just my whole life. I wish he could just narrate my life. This is about a brother and sister, Danny and Maeve. They're growing up around the 1950s. Their dad he doesn't inherit a lot of money. He comes into a lot of money in some way. And he ends up buying this house in, I think it's Eastern Pennsylvania. And it's this beautiful house. He bought it for his wife, and it's just incredible. But once he buys the house, everything kind of disintegrates in his family life. And it's about these two children as they kind of live their lives in this house. Their relationship between the two siblings flourishes and blossoms. I mean, it's beautiful. As a human with siblings, you can see yourself through these characters. Basically, the siblings end up coming back to the house over and over and over again. And there's huge themes of nostalgia and how can you move on from your past, and how can your past hold you back? And if you guys like character-driven novels, absolutely pick this one up. It's incredible. I really enjoyed it. And please listen to it on audio, because I feel like that's the only way to do it. But yeah, it's just one of those generational stories. The writing is just stunning in this book, so would highly recommend that one. All right, so number 5 on the list is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This book deserves the hype it gets. I mean, I know this is like one of the biggest books of our time right now, and it rightfully so. As someone who is a biology, I graduated with a biology degree, this book was absolutely incredible. So Delia Owens, if you don't know, is a marsh biologist or something like that, and I think this is her first novel, but it's about this girl named Kaya, and she grows up in the marsh in I think it was like North Carolina or something like that, and it's all about her life growing up, never going to school, having to survive off the land, living in this marsh. Her family abandons her, and she has to just find her way. It's not only about that, but then there's a murder mystery thrown into it. I mean, come on, just 5 stars all around. I just could not stop reading this. I couldn't put it down. It was incredible. Yeah, if you haven't read it yet, I know that some people have read it and they're like, it's fine, whatever, but I really appreciated her writing and just the way she detailed the marsh, and I don't know, it was so intriguing to me. I couldn't put it down. Really loved it. Totally worth the hype in my opinion. And I was very reluctant to read that book because I was like, everyone's reading this. I don't know, it was not the time for me, but I read it over the summer and it was a great book. Totally worth the hype. All right, now these last 4 on the list kind of all compete for my favorite book of the year because I loved them all so much equally, and I don't think I could tell you one is better than the other. They're all 4 from different genres, so I think that helps. If I had to pick a book in each of these genres, these would be the books. So the first one is House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. Also another one getting a ton of hype, totally worth the hype. I told you guys earlier, I have been very into middle grade lately, and this is like middle grade for adults, and this book just like saved 2020. I mean, I read this and I cried like so much. It is about Linus Baker. He is a caseworker and works to oversee these government-run orphanages. He is very good at his job, but his life is so mundane. It's literally wake up, go to work, come home, cook, go to bed, wake up, go to work. The most mundane, boring life ever. Oh, by the way, I have the book to show you. I like just tabbed it up because there's so many great lines in it. But he gets called one day to go to this orphanage on this like remote island out in the sea, and it's a very classified orphanage because the kids there, so all of the orphanages have magical children that he oversees, but these kids in this orphanage are extremely special. There is a gnome, there is this weird green blob, there is a Pomeranian, and they're all children. And then there's also the Antichrist, which is like, what? But you're reading this book and it's just filled with adventure and like love and hope and all of like the good things that we need in 2020. It breaks down the walls of prejudice and it's just incredible, like incredible. I would highly recommend this book. If you need just a good pick-me-up from 2020 in general. It was absolutely great. All right, so the next one, no surprise for anyone in the book community, Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Wow, 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 wow. Yes, loved this. I've been enjoying fantasy a lot more recently just because like the pandemic and I need to like escape. But my boyfriend is obsessed with Brandon Sanderson, has literally read every single one of the Stormlight Archives, and I'm trying to read the Stormlight Archives now, and it's just a lot. But this is one that was very doable. It's about this girl named Spensa. They live on this planet where her society is trying to defend themselves from the Krell, which are these like things that live up in the sky and attack their society all the time and stuff. And so all of these people live underground. One of the most highly respected careers you can have in this society is to be a pilot. And her dad was a pilot, and that's like all she wants in life. She ends up getting into this pilot school, and it's just about her adventures and learning about how to be a pilot in the society. And she is very self-sufficient. She is it's an incredible story, extremely plot driven. I mean, I flew through this, could not put it down. And I can't wait to pick up the second one. I know there's going to be, I think, 4 books in the series, and I'm like so down for it. Yeah, I'm normally not like a huge series reader, but this one I can get on board with. If you need a fast plot driven novel, definitely would recommend. And yes, really love that one. I think that was the best. This was definitely the best plot driven novel I read this year. Okay, so these last top two, like, yes. First one, Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Wow. Wow. You gotta go read it. Well, actually, read it at the right time because it's a very difficult read. This is a memoir. So she was the sexual assault victim of Brock Turner. He was the Stanford swimmer, if you remember a few years ago when that happened. And she wrote this like victim impact statement that she said in court, and it went viral on BuzzFeed. This is her memoir about that entire experience and going through the court system with that experience. And oh my God, it's a very hard book to read. I read this before the pandemic started. I read this back in January. So I don't know if I could read this now, but I would definitely put this on your list in the future when you are mentally ready for this, because this book needs to be heard. This book needs to be read. Her writing, first of all, wow, incredible. I mean, her words are just powerful and poignant, and they need to be told. And she talks about her legal battle with all of this, and how the court system can really suppress victims. And it was, oh my God, it was a must read. Yeah, I feel like that's all I want to say about it. Pick it up at a time when you're mentally ready for it. It's okay to take breaks from it. It was a very hard read for me. I cried a lot, but I feel like this book needs to be read, and her voice needs to be heard. Read that book. Read it. 100%. And the last book. Is this my favorite book of the year? Maybe. Like I said, these last two books are like very hard to compare the two because they're just so good. It is The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali. I really hope I said that right. I don't know why no one talked about this year. This book is chef's kiss, everything. This is the first book I read of 2020. It remained. I cannot stop thinking about it. I still think about it all the time. This is set in 1953 Tehran. So this is about a girl named Roya and a boy named Bahman. The background of this entire novel is the political strife happening in Tehran. There is a huge political upheave. I think there's like a coup or something that happens. A lot of political strife. She finds solace in the stationery shop in Tehran, and she loves going there. She loves being amongst the stationery and all the fountain pens and the poetry and all that kind of stuff. It's beautiful. And there's this boy that keeps coming into the shop. His name is Bahman, and they start kind of having a little bit of a romance. They are set to meet up outside of the stationery shop one day, and he never shows up. This book is kind of a big generational novel as well. I think it was like 50 years later, she gets the chance to see him again. And she's asking all these questions because she wrote to him the whole time, wondering, why didn't you show up? Where are you? Are you safe? All this kind of stuff. Never got an answer. And 60 years later, she's able to finally see him again and get those answers. And oh my God, I bawled. This is an incredible book. And it's very quick too. I think it was only about 300 pages or just under 300 pages, but it is a romance. Not really well, I don't know. It's like a historical fiction, but also has a romance in it. It really made me, first of all, didn't know any of this stuff happened in Tehran at all. So it talks all about that political history. And then also it really made me appreciate growing up in a country and in a space where there is religious freedom. You know, I feel like that is one thing that I definitely take for granted. It was very, very harrowing to read about. If you enjoy any kind of historical generational novel, you definitely got to read this. It's character driven, it's beautiful, the writing is amazing, just like all of these books. And the cover is also like stunningly beautiful. It's got all this gold foil on it, and it's just everything. But I don't know why this book did not get more hype. It definitely should, because literally best book of 2020. But yeah, you're gonna laugh. Well, no, you probably won't laugh. You'll probably cry a lot. I love things that make me cry, so maybe that's why I like this so much. And all of these books made me cry, literally, except Skyward. That didn't make me cry. That was just like, love it. Yeah, so that is my favorite books of 2020. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you like this, please let me know. I don't know if I'm gonna film more. I might. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about my favorite books of this year because I read so much, and I just feel like I need to talk about it with people. So have a great day. Bye.